Hello.
And welcome back to the Bros, Brews, and the Basement
Podcast.
See, even though we spent so much time away, we never miss a beat, you know?
Well, we were still seeing each other somewhat, kind of, a little bit.
Maybe, perhaps.
Just not podcasting.
Correct.
So, we're back from our hiatus. We know all of you out there were just waiting for our return.
Eagerly
and
anticipating.
That's judged by the 9 and 10 views per video that we get.
But we love those 9 to 10 views. So thank you for all of our loyal viewers out there. And
Yes.
for those of you who might be joining us, welcome to the Bros, Brews, and the Basement Podcast, where Dillon and myself, a.k.a. Corey, talk about pretty much anything and whatever we feel like talking about while drinking beer.
Exactly.
We have a new beer of the week every week, and this week, our beer of the week is
Sam
Summer,
Summer.
which is a classic. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. Am I right?
Yeah.
You know.
So, pretty much, we had a hiatus because I had a kid.
He sure did.
And I was home being parent with my wife. So, couldn't come here and record. Didn't really see anybody.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Other than coming here for an hour when everyone was here and then leaving.
Yeah, I was going to say, the random get-togethers that we may have.
Yeah, I haven't really hung out with anybody at all. And my wife hasn't hung out with anybody at all. And this is probably one of my first ventures out in a while. So we figured we would hit the brewery as we usually do.
Six Harbors, baby!
Which we did. And now we're back here recording what will probably be longer than an hour, even though we never intended to be, of wonderful sports-related content.
Yes.
Since that's what seems to be going on.
I was going to say, especially now. I mean, normally we would have already had a podcast where we made our predictions about the NBA and NHL playoffs, but, you know.
Right. And what's good is I didn't really have a prediction lined up, but thinking about it, I probably would have been wrong. So now I get to be wrong a second time, but on microphone.
Your first chance to be wrong.
But before we do that, we'll
It's
get
time.
into the Sam Summers. Me and Corey both like this beer.
We
So
sure do.
We've had it before.
Yeah.
It won't be a
Just
first.
for fun, we'll drink it and then, you know, soak it all in
Right.
and then give you the rating like we
My
usually do.
alcohol intake has been 0 for a while.
Yeah.
So, the beer at the brewery has me feeling pretty damn good, and it's a good thing. I told Corey to keep it light on the beer of the
alcohol
week.
front.
Yeah.
And I did. I tried to
'Cause
keep it nice
obviously
and light.
I need to go home and be dad.
Yeah.
when
Feeling
we
lit,
go home.
feeling light. Not 2 a.m. on a summer night.
No.
We said that.
No.
We said that in our other video, me and Steve on the intro.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say.
Kid Cudi, baby. Saw him break his leg at Coachella. Anyways,
Did he?
yeah, he jumped
Oh,
off the stage
no.
and broke his leg like an idiot.
So the last time I saw Kid Cudi, and it wasn't even live, I was watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and he plays a character on Brooklyn
Is
Nine-Nine.
in the latter seasons or
No, it's actually in the
pretty
earlier
early
seasons.
How do I
yeah.
not remember that?
Him and Andy Samberg, Jake Peralta,
Yeah.
they have like a rivalry. And Kid Cudi's character gets out of jail, and a robbery happens, and Jake Peralta swears it's Kid Cudi's character, so he arrests him without cause.
Okay.
And then the whole episode is
I have to rewatch Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
the whole
It's been a while.
episode is the squad trying to like prove he did it, which they end up doing in like the last scene.
Nice.
But actually, Kid Cudi was good, very good in the show, which I was impressed with, and obviously Andre Brower, if that's how you say his name.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Yeah,
You should watch the show for him alone.
Well,
if no
yeah,
other
honestly, Captain Holt is probably
He's
the
like
best character on the show.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's like
Probably.
easily one of the best characters, if not.
I mean,
the
it's
best.
him or Jake Peralta.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
honestly, I think it's him because of how well Captain Holt is amazing, and the way
his dry humor. I mean, it's
oh,
just it's so great.
good. It's so good. His character's amazing. But anyway, it's been a long time coming for this.
Yeah, and by the way, I think this is episode 14 because I don't think we set a name for the episode.
Oh, well, I actually
or a
forgot.
number, I mean.
I totally forgot.
Yeah,
so.
I think it's episode 14 though. And when you think about it, I'm just like, man, we did 14 episodes. That's kind of crazy,
That's
right?
news to me.
It doesn't feel that way.
Our
but
last episode was our year wrap up of 2023.
yeah, you're right. It was.
And then we were gonna do some January podcasts, but I got caught up in baby preparation.
Yeah,
And
understandably
then
so.
February, I had asked you if you wanted to pod, but you somehow had another leak in this basement.
Oh yeah.
And it just lined up with when you were hanging out with me, so I'm
Oh,
pretty
yes.
sure it's my fault.
Yeah. He's the jinx, guys. Careful. Your house will leak.
And then, baby came in March, and here we are on
the last time
May 7th.
Yeah, the last time I had seen you was when we hung out and we were watching shark-related films.
Yes, we watched.
your house.
We watched over a 2 or 3 week period, probably.
What was it?
Six.
We watched like 47 meters down 2, not the first one, the second one, because that was the only one available.
Did we end up getting the first one ever? Or
No, we never
because
did.
we didn't want to pay
No.
for it.
And then what else did we watch? We watched.
We watched a bunch of B-side shark.
Yeah, we
movies.
watched both Meg movies, which were pretty
The
great.
Meg movies were funny.
It's just a fun movie
then
because
what
you know
was
it's
that-
ridiculous.
What was that movie that we watched with like the two parents that they met and married, and then their children had to go to high school together, and they didn't get along because one was cool and one wasn't, and then they end up ditching school to go.
I think that was 47 meters down.
That was the
2.
second one?
2, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought that was a separate movie.
Yeah, and it
So
was
then-
like the chick from the first movie with she like moves in, I guess, or gets adopted by I guess her mom marries somebody else or whatever.
Yeah, and
And
they
then-
end up trying to co-parent.
Yeah, that movie was okay. I didn't see the first
It
one, so I
was-
don't have any comparison
It was
point, but
so ridiculous.
yeah, I mean, I feel like all those movies are ridiculous.
Also, apologies. We're gonna look a little red here. We couldn't figure it out, and then we just gave up.
Yeah.
So
Maybe I can fist it. I can fist it
guess,
in. I can fist
sure.
it in post.
Sure. I don't know if that's what you're doing
gonna
here
fist
nowadays.
that
if
post.
that's what you and Steve do,
I'm gonna
then
fix
great.
it in post. Is what I was trying to say.
So if we're not red, good job, Corey. And if we are, it didn't work out.
Yeah, it didn't work out. So maybe we're.
But anyway,
Sam
cheers.
Summer, cheers, buddy. Congratulations.
thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
For
I know
clicking
you're
in.
all congratulating me on the other side. I appreciate it.
If you're out there and you're watching this, please enjoy a nice cold brew with us. Where we always invite you to taste the brew and join the crew.
Good memory.
Nailed it.
So to set the scene, we're having a Sam Summer because it is May 7th. It's 75 degrees
Yeah, it's
here.
probably the warmest it's been, right?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. My
we're-
allergies are kicking up. It's
We're
beautiful.
apparently like 10 degrees above average temperature for this time of year, which is great.
Yeah, it is beautiful out there.
I mean, we could rate this beer, but this is like a great summer beer for me. It's 7.5, 8.
Yeah, I was going to go with an 8. That was my gut.
All right, we'll go with 8s. We'll
Eights-
keep it simple.
8's all around.
Okay.
Lock it in. 8.
Locked in. Yeah, so we're 75 degrees here. It's beautiful out. Middle of April hit, and we had like 70 degree days, and
Yeah, it was.
I got super pumped. I had been in the house on baby duty for however long at that point, and I started a bunch of indoor plants, cucumber plants, some mammoth sunflowers, lettuce, and cabbage.
Nice.
And
Love
then, 10 days later, it was still getting down to like 35 degrees at night, and all the plants died because they had to go outside because they got too big, and I had nowhere to leave them in the house.
Yeah,
so they're
that's
all
rough.
dead. And now here we are at the point where I should
Be planting.
start all those plants.
Yeah.
And probably going to do that tomorrow. Start a couple more.
Nice.
Um,
Love that.
there's something about owning a house where all of a sudden you're like, I got a fucking garden.
Yeah, you're like, the possibilities are endless.
right.
What can I
Like,
cultivate?
So yesterday we were at Home Depot, and I bought lawn soil because I have some patches in my grass. And I'm sitting there. I got the lawn soil. I'm looking at the patches. I'm excited to put down the grass seed. And all I could think about was your dad and how important the lawn is. So
I love that.
for all the years that we've been coming here, everyone knows, like,
You don't
all right,
step
you
on-
got to walk up the
you don't step on
driveway
Corey's lawn,
and
yeah.
walk up the path to get to the house. Because if you step on the lawn or park in front of the fucking
The mailbox before the mail
Corey's
comes,
dad
he
is
will
going to be
murder
at
you.
the window.
Yeah, he's gonna be
yelling
yelling
at your
at you.
ass before you make it
Get
to
off
the driveway.
my fucking lawn! He's that guy. Was that guy? He still is a little bit, but it's not as aggressive as it
So
was.
now I'm there looking at my lawn, being like, I gotta fix these dead patches. And I'm like, man, I'm just Corey's dad.
But it's like now you get it though. It's,
I get. Well, you know what's so funny is my dad. So we had a lot of lawn, and my dad never had the time to mow because he worked in the city.
Yeah,
he was
he's
either
all
driving
over.
or there's trains, and he had second and third jobs. So he just decked over the grass. He said, "Fuck it."
He's like, yeah, we don't.
I'm just decking the whole fucking lawn.
We don't need to see that.
Yeah. Guy hasn't mowed in years because he just decked it all. But before he decked it all, we would have like our grass would be like 2.5 feet tall because he never had time to mow. So now here I mowed the lawn today, and my wife was like, "It's already time to mow it." I was like, "Yeah, it's super long right now."
Yeah,
It
grows
wasn't
quick.
super long, but dandelions were growing.
Oh yeah,
And that's long enough.
fun. Nothing like some
Oh,
weeds
dude.
growing in your lawn.
Dandelions, wild strawberries. My mother-in-law said we have voluntary violets, which are just violets that pop up.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I was like, I want to get rid of them. And she was like, no, they're pretty. And I was like,
Are they though?
okay. I mean, they're fine. They're
Yeah.
purple. And then we also have these things called Stars of Bethlehem, which last year my mother-in-law was like, they're invasive, pull them. And then this year she was like, they're beautiful plants. And we were like, which one are they?
Well, yeah. Do you like them or do you hate them? Like,
Because I've been pulling them. And then I told her 2 days ago that I've been pulling them. And she was like, why are you doing that? And I was like, I don't know.
tell me what to do.
But anyway, that's enough of
Yeah.
what I've been doing. What have you been doing?
I mean, I've been on another 2-week vacation, and it just, immediately.
Stellar.
Yeah, stellar.
I feel like our last.
That's actually
our
a
first
great
podcast
segue to what I've been
was-
doing on my
was
vacation.
2-week vacation.
Yeah, we did do that literally like almost a year ago to the day. Was like, I was on my vacation. I was talking about just like resetting my body and, working out
Yeah.
again, just kind of like refocusing all those things that you just kind of let build up, because we have a tendency, some of us at least, to just plow through knowing that like, you're not really getting like the restful, like healthy, like sleep or workout.
It's the complacency. It's also
It's the grind of.
It's the grind, and I feel like as a whole, people struggle with change,
yeah.
right? So when you change your routine, you then have to acclimate to a new routine, and
that
that's
can be
harder
very
to
difficult.
do than just keep doing the same old shit.
Yeah, because you're like, it almost feels like for a lot of us, we're just built that way. That's how we're like taught, is just like keep going, and then.
Chug and chug along.
Yeah, just, like,
Absolutely.
plow through,
Thomas the Train.
But yeah, so you saying stellar before was the perfect segue for what I've been doing on my vacation, which was playing.
Watching Interstellar.
I mean, that's one of my favorite space movies of all time, but it's actually playing Stellar Blade, which has been pretty controversial. I know I had mentioned it to you at the brewery before, but a brand new PS5 exclusive single player game where the female protagonist is overly sexualized. It's been very controversial. Feel free to look it up and all that good fun stuff, but nonetheless, if you can look past
Outside of that,
that, though, the game itself is still really fun. There's always going to be people on YouTube, on the internet, that are going to bash the game for being like, oh, this is a AAA company that's, they kind of mailed it in. They didn't really get all these things right. Like the story's not compelling, or like they find things to nitpick at the game. But honestly, I think it's a solid game. And if you're playing the game, a part of the fan base is definitely playing it for the busty good looks of the protagonist, which is
well,
great, but It has
if
amazing.
you're over the age of like 14
Yeah.
and you're playing a game
Specifically
because
for that, then you're yeah.
then go to therapy.
Yeah, go to therapy. But if you get past the the perviness of that or whatever, the gameplay itself is really fun. It's basically a hybrid of Dark Souls and Devil May Cry, mixed in with like other stuff. People say Nier Automata because that's the other game that the company made before this one. But it is really fun. It's challenging, and honestly the sword gameplay is just super fun. I said to him, I just beat the game literally today, and the last 3 bosses of the game, the spike in skill level, is tremendous.
Yeah.
To the point where it's a little frustrating, but you could look up stuff to help you kind of like figure out. I might make a video on that, to be honest, just for fun. But yeah, I highly recommend it. If you don't know about it, check it out, at least for the laugh of seeing how over sexual the game is. The protagonist specifically. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. And other than that, which I want to hear your thoughts, obviously, on what you're about to say. But
Yeah.
the only other thing that I've really been doing is, like I said, kind of recalibrating myself physically, like fitness-wise, getting more rest and stuff. But it's been watching literally every game of the NHL and NBA playoffs, which we normally
Ditto.
make our predictions. But we'll go to that. But let's hear your thoughts on what I said before about the game.
So I did actually. I'm gonna get up real quick.
We changed colors. The colors, Duke.
I just wonder. Did that change anything?
I don't know. It's hard to say because you're not here.
We're just trying something on the color real quick.
Yeah, I did have that one on earlier.
No, it did absolutely nothing. So that's cool. My thoughts are, if you are going to have a main character that is a woman
Sure.
in this day and age, why are you going to focus so much on that? Right? Because
It plays a lot like moments of the game kind of are like an anime. And granted, it's Korean, not Japanese, but still.
okay, so then are you playing a Korean version or are you playing an American version?
Good question.
Right?
Yeah, I mean,
Right? So that's my thing is like, know your audience. So there is an audience for the game how it is.
sure.
Then there's going to, there are people that are going to buy it for that. Then there are people who are just going to play the game because they heard it's a good game. And then there are people that are going to bash it because the character is portrayed as she is. But I just feel like with games in general, like just make good characters. Like the character has to be good.
Yeah. I mean, I like her.
Are you
I don't
trying
care
to-
about the over-sexualization.
Well, you're a grown man,
Yeah.
right? You're a grown man who's just playing a game to play a good game.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking
Right.
past that. I'm not just focusing on that one specific aspect.
Right. I mean, when I play God of War, like, you know how long it took me to realize Kratos doesn't have a shirt on? It's just his fucking armor.
Yeah.
And once I realized that, I was like, wow, you are not paying attention to the game that you're playing.
It's one of those things,
But,
people will inevitably
you know,
bash you about.
I
shit
don't
like
know.
that.
I just feel like we're starting, and it's been going on for a little bit, where our main characters are starting to be female characters. Like, you should do right by the character.
Yeah.
Right? Because when we were younger, video game players were boys. Boys played video games when we were younger.
Yeah.
I
That's true.
didn't know any girl that played video games, but all the boys I knew as a kid played video games. But now everyone plays video games. So if you just sexualize one character that happens to be a woman, it just looks like shit. I mean, honestly, sexualize a man, it's still not going to look great because it's like you're making
It's
a
also
video
like
game.
it's probably one of those things that's like overlooked.
What's the game rated?
I mean, it's got to be mature.
Is it mature?
Yeah, it's got to be mature
So
because
then
like
it's
you're
like-
cutting like enemies in half. There's a lot of blood. There's a ton
So
of
then
violence.
It's also like if your target audience is for 16 and up,
I mean,
or
it's
14 and up, I think mature is.
it's not like it's unrated, right? Like some games are the
Right.
really controversial ones that
Then it's up to if parents are letting their children play the game.
But they censored the game anyways. They cut some of the because there's a lot of outfits that you can unlock for the character. There's like 70 outfits or something crazy like
Okay.
that. And some of them are like lingerie. So it's like
So sounds like they did a somewhat of a good job of
Yeah.
making it more about the game, but
Yeah.
while still like keeping it to its core. I don't know. I don't know.
yeah, it's one of those things where you also
to
have
me,
to like
to
see
me,
it and
doesn't
experience
matter.
it.
It
Yeah.
doesn't matter to me. Like, you
Yeah.
know, if I'm buying a game, I'm not buying a game for the look of the main character. I don't give a fuck how my characters look. My GTA character looks like one of our Asian friends, right?
It does.
Because
Yeah, it
I
looks
just
like
don't.
Beric.
I don't care what my character look like ever. So I don't give a fuck. I just feel like know the time frame you're making a game in.
Yeah. And my other like big argument for that would be like, they put like, 70 outfits or whatever. It's not that much, but it's a significant amount of outfits where in any other game that's produced nowadays and released, they would make you pay for everything added when this
Yeah.
game it's basically what people always want, right? It's like it's everything all in one. There's no extra
How
purchases.
games used to be.
There's no add-ons. You get everything right away. New game plus, all those outfits, all this, extra stuff
Yeah.
for you to do. So I mean, is the price point worth it? I mean, that's for you to decide depending on what you like. It's subjective.
Well, it's $70, right?
$70 is a lot, and honestly, I don't know if I would recommend paying $70 for the game. I think it's a great game, and it's probably like 30 plus hours of gameplay.
Yeah.
But I don't, again, it's like that's your own view. That's subjective.
Right. It just takes me back to when I think it was either Nintendo 64 or PlayStation 2, or maybe even PlayStation games were
Yeah.
$40.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much
And I remember my dad would be like, "You want me to spend
$40.
Right, but so my dad would always include the tax.
Oh,
So it was $43 and change. And I only know that because my dad was like, "This is $43."
he knows. That's like whenever I
This
used to
is-
buy a.
This is $43
I love
for
that though.
Mario Kart,
I love that.
which is wild because you could sell Mario Kart now for way more than that. And I
Yeah,
still have
especially-
it, Dad.
Yeah, that's like at one point, I used to be like, oh yeah, 65-16 for an Xbox game, a couple of years ago, and
Now it's 77.
yeah, I mean, depending,
something.
and there's, it's crazy the price pointing system because now they're like, oh, but you got to buy the deluxe edition for $10 more,
or
and then you could buy
it's-
the ultra edition
which
for
is 99.
yeah,
right?
and then you could get everything all inclusive plus these other things for like $100 and whatever dollars,
So the way they get you,
i.e., Star Wars Outlaws.
and in previous episodes, if you've listened, thank you. I have bitched about UFC 4. I play it a lot. It's a bad game. UFC 5 came out, different engine, Frostbite.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So to the eye, it's a little bit smoother, but it still has a lot of the same issues. It's just smoother transitions.
yeah, just looks better.
They release UFC, and every gaming company does this. This isn't just EA, but they release the game. It has a lot of issues, and then they patch it over time. But they incentivize pre-ordering with unlockables,
Always.
and this and that. And if you buy this version beforehand, it's $25 cheaper, and you get all this shit. But you don't get a good game to play until 6 months down the line. So it's like, I spend less money, I get more unlockables, but I don't have a playable game for 3 months.
Yeah, not great.
Right?
Not ideal.
Like, that's why they incentivize pre-ordering games so much, or at least this is what I feel, is because they're releasing a game that they know has issues, and they just need to know what their base is going to complain about. So the base complains about this, they fix that. They complain about this, they fix that, and then you have somewhat of a playable game a couple months later.
Yeah, and that's not how game release should be.
Because I can tell you this, I put Mario Kart into my Nintendo 64 today, it's just going to turn on.
Yeah.
No updates.
You might have to
I'm
blow
gonna
into
have
the cartridge.
all the
but-
levels. Might have to blow into the cartridge. Might have to wipe it down
Even
a
though
little bit.
you're not
It's been
supposed
a while.
to do that.
It's been a while since I've been in the basement, to be honest, which is why my Xbox is on the first floor.
Yeah, I did notice
And,
that actually today. I was just like,
yeah.
oh, the controllers are up here.
Yeah, well, you know what? I brought it up because we wanted to throw some DVDs in. Like,
Okay.
How I Met Your Mother has an alternate ending.
Dope. There's something about
And-
analog video. I like
And
having it.
How I Met Your Mother has an alternate ending on their DVD series, and Dexter True Blood. Wait, is it?
Ooh.
Oh no, it's not True Blood.
Yeah,
It's the first. It's the original run of Dexter.
Okay.
Has an alternate ending where he's not a logger in like Seattle or New Zealand, wherever he goes.
Classic.
But see, we're getting on a tangent because we thought we were just going to talk about sports, but I'm about to go in on Dexter right now.
But we won't
So-
because
Yeah, we're not going to talk about sports at all. We're gonna. Dexter. I know how everyone felt when they watched it in real time, but I'm gonna watching. So the first time I watched Dexter, I watched all 7 seasons on stream, and then watched season 8 with all of my friends.
Yep.
In real time, and then obviously I watched True Blood. However it came out. Wait, True Blood? Is that what it is?
New Blood.
New Blood.
Because True Blood is
True
literally
Blood's a vampire show.
Yeah, the vampire show. That's
So
why I'm
then-
like True Blood.
And then I watched New Blood, however it was released,
yeah.
which I think was like half a season and then half a season, but I don't remember.
No, I think it was.
it was full.
I think it was episodic because we got
Oh,
together
was it?
every Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Probably because I wasn't there because I was working.
I think you were working. Kim came for like the first episode, I believe it was, and
she was like, "Fuck this."
and maybe the last one. Like the first one was like obviously the big return. Like everybody. Oh God, everybody
That was a
was
good
here.
one.
Yeah, right. Everybody was here. Mike, Kathy, like pretty
Yeah.
much-
So rewatching Dexter on stream, all 8 seasons, I will say that season 5 is not the massive fall off a cliff in quality that we all thought it was originally.
Which one was 5 again?
5 is Lumen and Julia
Right.
Stiles.
That was right after Trinity and 4.
Yeah. So the reason I think everyone felt that is, one, the Trinity season's amazing.
Yeah,
And
it was just really
John
compelling.
Lithgow is like, I mean, the guy's a fucking rock star.
Yeah, he is.
If it comes to like old dad actors, it's like John Lithgow is amazing.
I mean, he is just fantastic.
He's also somehow looked like that for a long time.
For his
Like,
entire life.
I can go back and watch Third Rock from the Sun, which is a long time ago, and he still looks like that.
See, I would make a really obscure reference, and I'd be like, you could watch Cliffhanger and see him as the bad
that's
guy.
True.
And he looks the same.
That's true.
Pretty
So-
much. Maybe not gray hair or white
So
hair.
like the way the last episode of season 4 ends, Rita dies, you're like, oh my God, he killed Trinity, he comes back, Rita's dead, Harrison's in the blood. It's the whole, like, it feels like a culmination of the story, right?
Yeah.
But the Lumen season, without having watched season 4 for the first time, knowing how season 4 ends, the Lumen season is a quality season.
Well, it's the first time he like takes somebody under his wing, so to speak.
And also, I feel like the reason a lot of people didn't like Lumen is like Rita's gone, you
Yeah.
know, and you're still kind of mourning Rita dying because she dies and season 4 ends.
And then
like
you're
he
just
doesn't
here's
tell
a new
he
female
doesn't
protagonist.
he doesn't
character.
tell Cody or Aster that mom's dead until episode 1 of season 5, right? So you're still in mourning of
Well, yeah,
Rita.
you're literally
as the
waiting
watcher,
for a full year, basically.
as the watcher, right? So and then you come back to season 5, and bam, it's still he's dealing with Rita's death. He has visions of having dinner with Rita after she's dead. So you're still dealing with that. And then Lumen comes in, and I feel like the watcher is like, fuck this bitch. This asshole serial killer should have just killed her. Like, fuck it. We don't care. But watching it without the emotion of being tied into the ending of season 4, I think season 5 really holds up.
Fair. I mean, I haven't rewatched the series, so I couldn't say. But
We watched it twice. We also watched How I Met Your Mother twice.
Yeah.
We were home for a while, so
Okay.
we had time on our hands. But I would say season 5 is a lot better than I remember it being. And I also remember not thinking season 5 was as bad as all of you thought it was who had watched it week by week.
Yeah. I think you're probably right. I think a lot of fans, and obviously we fall under that category. We're probably bitter about the loss of season 4 and then having to just move on from that so quickly and have here's a new female character
Right.
and she's
Right.
with Dexter and but I
Yeah.
mean it's not a bad season. Just like the Doomsday Killer, I think was
Colin Hanks.
another one that was underappreciated. I thought it was actually really good. Now in hindsight, years later.
The twist of Edward James almost just being dead the whole time and Colin Hanks
Yeah, it's that's great.
seeing him as
Very-
a real person. Yeah.
Very unlike Dexter.
So that's my tangent, is that the final 4 seasons of Dexter aren't as bad as they are. However, I will say, in the finale, when he walks into the hospital, unplugs Deb from life support, carries her out of the hospital, no one stops him, and he goes out to the water and just drops her in the water with no one stopping him is ridiculous. Because, and I've said this to people, and people are like, "Oh, well, they were freaking out about the hurricane."
Yeah,
it's fucking Florida. Florida has hurricane parties. They party when hurricanes come. They don't freak out.
Sounds like a colorful, lawless swamp.
So I've been told. But they party when hurricanes come, at least the young kids. The older adults probably bored up, but still, they don't freak out like that. And there's no way you can just unplug someone from life support.
Yeah.
I understand why they did that, right? Because he brings her out to sea because he's like, you wouldn't have been dead if it wasn't for me. So I'm going to get rid of you the way I got rid of all my other kills. I get the symbolism behind it. But come on. You can't walk into a hospital and just carry someone out.
No. It's not how it works.
That is my major issue with Dexter, and it always was. But I would say the final 4 seasons are better than we thought they were when they aired.
Fair enough.
So
segueing, speaking of Florida, how about those Florida Panthers? Whoa!
Yeah.
And the Miami Heat, who got eliminated in the first round of the NBA
yeah,
playoffs.
the Panthers just got dropped in the water in Florida by Dexter. And by Dexter, I mean the Bruins in Game 1.
Yeah, the Bruins absolutely shitted all over the Panthers in Game 1. Not what I was anticipating.
They wrapped them in saran wrap and stabbed them in the chest.
Yeah, just watched them bleed out, right? Even though it's only Game 1 and there's still plenty more.
All right, so they stabbed them in the flank or something. Or
they're still getting the confession out right now.
Right.
Actually, they got the little blood slide.
Oh, so they just turned the lights on and the person is like, where am I?
Oh, God, what's happening? What did I
that's
do?
the Florida Panthers right now.
Right there. That's Florida. But anyways, we said we were going to talk about sports, so let's talk about the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs. Where would you like to start?
We were there on hockey, so let's stay there.
All right, let's continue the hockey talk. I mean, obviously the first round, super exciting. I like I said, since I've been on vacation, I watched pretty much every game. The only series I really didn't watch was the LA and Edmonton series.
Yeah, West Coast
because
times.
it's just on so late, and even though I could afford to stay up late, I just would be asleep on the couch.
Yeah.
I would stay up for maybe the Colorado and the Colorado series and the Nashville one at times with Vancouver, but those weren't super late.
I caught no West Coast games, but I obviously saw the Rangers. Rangers swept, which is nice.
So good, so amazingly good.
And what also I thought was crazy is that The Islanders lost in 5.
Correct.
I thought that series was a lot closer. And if you factor in
I mean, the fact that they
Islanders
blew
were
game
winning
2.
game 2,
Yeah.
gave up 2 goals in 9 seconds, and then
Typical
the Hurricanes
Islanders.
got the empty net. Yeah, right.
In this season, anyway.
This season, the Hurricanes got the empty netter to go up 2-0. If the Islanders win that game, that series is so different.
Yeah.
So different. But the amount of leads that they lost in the third period.
And honestly, all season. Because if you look back at their
It was
track
all
record,
season.
yeah, they've blown multiple games. I talked about this. I mention him on the podcast all the time, but one of the patients I take care of at work who's a big Islander fan, the story all season long, if you look at their overtime losses alone, they had like almost 20 or something like that. And that's not including, third period straight up losses. They've blown multiple 2+ goal leads in the third period. So, I mean, the series against them was literally just the regular season coming, full. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did. What was that?
I think I
that was that. Okay.
It was basically that coming full circle, So it didn't surprise me at all that they blew that lead and blew game 2. And honestly, like I said, it was
2 goals in 9 seconds is pretty shocking.
It's embarrassing.
That's shocking.
It's embarrassing. The Islanders shouldn't have even been there. If they didn't go on that run at the end of the year, they wouldn't even have been in the playoffs. So the fact that they got there, I don't want to be one of those people who's a Ranger fan and who's just shitting on the Islanders just to shit on the Islanders because I'm a Ranger fan. I like to think of myself more like you in the terms of I'm just a realistic hockey fan, and that's the way the year went, and I'm just being blunt and honest. I could sit here and tell you the same thing about the Rangers all those years, when Rick Nash was there and he just shit the bed and all these players just shit the bed and they sucked.
Well, if we're going to sidetrack, the year Rick Nash scored 42 goals.
And then disappeared in the playoffs?
He had 39 goals going into the last month of the season or something like that, and only scored like 3 in the last month, and then the playoffs he disappeared. And they lost. I think they lost in the second round. I mean, you would have to check that. But that team was good enough that I think they would have won the first round. But they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So it's like.
But yeah, the first round, though, was really exciting. Glad to see the Rangers were the only team in the NHL to sweep their series.
And like I said to you, I thought the Capitals would get 1. I thought they would get 1, right? Because Rangers, Capitals, those are always tight games. But no, they didn't get 1. The Rangers swept.
Too much of a rebuild for Washington.
I will say, at the point of recording, the Rangers are up 1-0 on the Hurricanes with Game 2 tonight.
Yeah.
Game 1.
Thoughts?
I thought that the Rangers could have played better and the Hurricanes could have played better. Like, if the Hurricanes were at the top of their game, but the Rangers played the game the way that they played, the Hurricanes win that game. But maybe it's because both teams won early in their series and they had days off that they had to shake the rust off. So maybe it was that game they shook the rust off. Super chippy, a lot of hits. A lot
of fighting after the whistle.
Yeah, and the lefts,
pushing, shoving.
The refs were letting them go.
They were far left refs.
Yeah. And I very much appreciate that because that's what I want in hockey. I want to watch teams go at it.
Well, you want to let them go at it to an extent, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just be calling penalties crazy.
The
unless
game
it's really
tonight,
out of control.
I mean, I feel like the Rangers are going to have to be on point tonight. Otherwise, the Hurricanes are going to come in and win one in the Garden.
So, I mean, they showed the stat for the Hurricanes and the Rangers in Game 1, and the Hurricanes literally do special teams better than the Rangers, but it's not by much. I think the Hurricanes were 1-2 in power play and penalty kill, and the Rangers are third, I believe, in both. So
and the Rangers are bad in 5-on-5.
So that's
according to the stats.
And that's kind of where I was going, right? So it's like it's obviously a very important aspect of the series is the special teams, right?
Right.
So the Rangers won that battle in game 1, which is why they won the game, and which leads me
Which is
to the
crazy
5-on-5.
they took a lot of fucking penalties, I feel.
And they did a great job with the PK. Number 3 defeating number 1, I believe. Or no, sorry, number 2 on the power play.
Yeah.
I think Tampa was number 1, if I'm not mistaken. But it raises the questions that a lot of the commentators and the analysts were talking about at halftime, saying the attack, the amount of attack on the offensive zone for Florida was almost double the Rangers, right? It was like 18.
Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like 18 minutes to like 9
So
something.
it was the middle. Once it hit the middle of the second period and all of the third period, the Rangers just survived. That first game,
Yeah, they did.
They were just surviving.
They did just survive.
Panarin out of nowhere gets some freak goal that leaks through.
Yeah, it was
right?
a very lucky goal.
Yeah, like it was just squeaked through his arm, right? Had no business scoring. It's just one of those things, and that's why they won.
Yeah, and I
because
think
the Hurricanes scored again. So
yeah, when they
the
pulled
Rangers,
the goalie, yeah,
the Rangers are going to have to be cleaner and play a lot better because the Hurricanes are going to bring it tonight and the rest of the series. And if the Rangers don't elevate their game, the Hurricanes will win the series.
Yeah,
They'll win the series.
and
they're fucking nasty, dude. They're
they're
good.
way better than I thought they were, and it's because I hadn't really seen them all season to know that. I feel like the times that I did see them, they just kind of looked like, wishy-washy. Like they were okay. Obviously they've been good for a while and been playing consistently, but yeah, the big question for the Rangers though is how will they respond full strength 5-on-5 hockey?
Right.
That's been the biggest question in the series because I think they only scored one goal in game one where they were full strength, and that was, I believe, was the Panarin goal.
Yeah. Panarin was 5-on-5. I'm not sure about the others.
Yeah, the other two I believe were both Mika on the power play.
Yeah, well, I said to you in the group chat, I turned the game on. The Rangers were up 1-0.
The
laughed. Hurricanes immediately scored and made it 1-1, and I shut the game off. I was like, well, that's it for me.
You know what's funny is I was at Steve's house and I saw that text or whatever and the game had just started and I was laughing so hard because I said that to Steve and I was just like, he turned it off, the jinx or whatever, you know. And what was funny too that happened was like Jamie went to the bathroom and I think that was the other Mika goal and I was like, yeah, Mika scored, stay in the bathroom. I was like, don't come out, we'll bring you your food in the bathroom. Like that's
you gotta eat on the toilet.
That's the rule, Steve said it. So it was just one of those things, superstitions. But yeah, I mean that's definitely the biggest question as far as the series goes is how will the Rangers respond to full strength hockey? Can they
We'll
score?
see about that. Up 1-0, they have some room, but tonight's important. But how are you looking at game 2 as a Florida Panther?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, losing at home.
Were supposed to go in and be competitive. Wait, they were in Florida? I thought
they were in Florida.
In Boston.
No, I'm pretty sure they were in Florida because Florida had the same record as the Rangers going into the end of the season.
Okay.
We played them, and it was like looking in a mirror of us.
Yeah.
Because we had the same exact record, at that time, which I couldn't tell you it for verbatim what it was, but I'm pretty sure Florida was home though. And Boston, waltzed in there after their Game 7 series with Toronto, and honestly, they just washed them.
Oh, yeah, they were home.
Yeah, they washed
5-1 at
5-1.
home. That's nasty.
So that was last night, at current time here.
Dude, that Bruin team is nasty, dude.
It's so crazy though
this is
because
the team they were last year. They just got fucking
they
flamed.
But they lost.
In the first
they lost
round.
Bergeron. Like that's the big. I'm
Yeah.
sure they lost some other people too. But obviously, like you think of the Bruins, you think of Patrice Bergeron as there's their guy, and now it's Pasternak, and rightfully so. He scored the game winner in overtime against the Maple Leafs, in dramatic fashion. And elevated them, and I truly did not expect Boston to, mop them up in Game 1 much.
With hockey, I never expect playoff games to be that
much
big
of a
of a
wash.
gap.
Yeah, I mean the 5-1 is a lot. Like, you can make the argument a lot of times that games were more competitive up until the end of the game when you
Right,
score
where
empty
the goalie gets
netters and,
pulled, blah blah blah. But that
But
that
that's no,
5-1 was start to finish.
no, yeah,
That was start to finish.
they were getting crushed.
Because even, I mean, Rangers, Hurricanes, for example, the Rangers had two goal leads, but it didn't fucking matter. It still ended 1 goal with the goalie being pulled and the Hurricanes having pressure on the Rangers, right?
Yep.
This
Constant
game,
pressure. Can't be easy.
the fucking
Can never get an empty
the
netter.
fucking Bruins just dominated.
It's crazy.
So I'll be interested in seeing how game 2 is. If
There's got to
Florida,
be a response.
if Florida doesn't respond and win game 2, then
That
the
series is
series
over
could
in
end in
5.
Boston.
Yeah, I think it might be over in 5, to be honest.
How does the hockey series go? Is it 2-2,
It's 2-2, 1-1-1.
1-1-1? Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, man, if they ended in 5 in Florida, that would be rough.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens. This could be a Boston team where
The Panthers are really good, so I think
well,
they're
they
going
made
to
it
respond.
they made it to the finals last year.
I think they're
so
going to respond, but
that's why
winning a playoff game against the Bruins is not going to be easy.
It's not.
So
It's not going to be as easy
but
as
they
I thought.
need to win tomorrow. I think their game's tomorrow.
I said to, the guy at work that I take care of, I said Florida or New York. Those are the 2 teams that are going to the conference finals. But I did not anticipate Boston being such a such a presence. Especially after going 7 games with Toronto, who I just it's Toronto. I have this like preconceived notion, and I wouldn't even say preconceived, it's just based on history, that they don't make it past the first round or they blow their series lead
Right.
or whatever, and that's what happened
In this
again.
case, they crawled all the way back.
Yeah, and
3-1.
and then they just lost to Game 7, which they're notorious for against
Right.
Boston specifically. But yeah, I think that those are the 2 teams in the East that will emerge. As far as the West Coast, I mean, obviously
I don't know shit about the West, so I'll let you take it away.
I mean, obviously, we're in the second round, so I don't know who I would have chose for some of the series in the first round, but obviously you got the Avalanche and the Stars. The Stars eliminated the champion Golden Vegas Knights, which was a great series. Dallas has been good for a while. Made it to the conference finals, I believe, at least once or twice in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
So they've been pretty consistently good. I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow pulled it out again, but the Avalanche are definitely going to be quite a test as
Yeah.
far as speed and skill goes. So ultimately it comes down to goaltending, I think, whether Georgiev will be able to stop some of the former Ranger.
Our
Georgiev,
guy, that's our guy.
We cultivated that masterpiece. Heyo. Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like I want to say that somehow the Stars will eke it out, but I mean, you can't discount the fact that the Colorado Avalanche have been the champions within the past 3 years.
Right.
So, I mean, we'll see. That should be a fun series to watch. And as far as the other series, I have way less knowledge of that one because I don't really watch Edmonton's games. But as far as a hockey fan, I would say I'm rooting for the Canucks over Edmonton just because I'm just so tired of seeing Edmonton go far and not do anything. So it would be nice to see a team that we haven't seen, be there before, be there, and having JT Miller on that team, a former Ranger too. I'd like to see that. And Connor Garland, right? That's your boy from NHL, the trades.
I usually trade for him. He's fucking fast in the games. I've never seen him play in real life.
So I mean, we'll see what happens. I really don't know. It's hard to say, but I'm looking forward to all these series are going to be good. Whether they go 7 games, though, I mean, they easily could. A lot of them.
I think most of them are going to be 6 or 7.
Yeah, this round should be way more competitive, I think, than the first round. Some of the series went 7 games.
Yeah.
But I think the skill gap will be
it'll be smaller.
closed significantly.
It'll be small.
And honestly, even sometimes when you do get a sweep of a series, it's not necessarily a direct view into how competitive the series was because you could lose by
Not
1 goal
always.
in the final
Yeah.
minute, every game. And it doesn't really give you that accurate depiction of what the series really was like and how intense and close it was. So that's
But
all I got for
anyway,
hockey.
Yeah, that's it for hockey.
So now we move on to basketball.
Basketball.
Right, and I had mentioned this, earlier when we were at the brewery. But
I'm pretty sure the champion is going to be a West team.
I mean, it's hard
They're
hard to say it
real
won't be
good.
based on what we discussed. But yeah, if you're a Dallas fan and if you're a New York fan right now, you're living the dream in both worlds. Like as a sports fan, like, the Knicks finally doing amazing, like made it to the second round of the playoffs. For the
Which
second
for the
straight
Knicks
year.
is amazing.
For the second straight year. I
the
mean,
Knicks have been garbage for so long.
For a long time.
So long.
And honestly, I love seeing all the heroes and the icons of when we grew up watching.
Oh,
so
Charles
you got
Oakley.
Charles Oakley. Well, he I don't think he was there when they showed him, but like you got Latrell Sprewell, Allen Houston, Larry Johnson, all in the crowd for all these games. So it's so nice seeing LJ back in there doing his thing. I was Allen Houston guy, even though his knee got blown out.
I
He
mean,
fucked over
Allen
our contracts.
Houston was great.
Yeah, he was my boy.
Until he wasn't.
Yeah, I still have his jersey. But yeah, it's nice seeing a nice gritty Knicks team like you were saying.
Yeah.
That basically embodies
Yeah.
what we loved about the 90s and early 2000 Knicks when they went to the finals against the Spurs.
They're a little short. But they're tough.
Would you say that's a shortcoming?
A little bit. They're a little short, but they're tough, and they grind it out, and we'll see how long they could take it. I mean, if they beat the Pacers, and that's a big if, it's going to be a tough task.
It's going to be a really tough series. I see that one going 6.
Yeah, if they beat the Pacers, I don't know if they get past the Celtics, assuming the Celtics get past the Cavs, which they probably will.
Yeah, I would assume, based on what we discussed earlier, that the Celtics should move past the Cavs. I don't want to discount the Cavs because obviously, they beat the Magic in a Game 7 and they came back from behind.
Right.
And it was a significant point differential and, won. But I can't see the number 1 seed Boston Celtics, who have been consistently good for, how many years now have they made it?
It's probably at this point been like
Didn't
5.
they go back to back, like to the NBA Finals the past like 2 years or 3? Or
were they in
like
it
that?
last year? I don't even remember. I remember they went. No, they
last
lost.
Year was
they
Denver
lost
and
to.
I can't remember. I'm having that poop.
I know
brain right
2
now.
years ago they lost to the Warriors.
Yeah, I'm curious. I want to know. But like, I feel like they've been there. They've been at the dance and just.
Oh, the Nuggets beat the Heat.
The Heat. Oh, because Jimmy Butler took that one game. I think it was 4-1.
Nuggets beat the Heat.
So maybe they didn't make it last year, obviously, but I feel like the previous 2 years they were at least in the finals and in the conference finals, or they've been there before, which is why they wanted to break up the whole Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum trio because
they got rid of Smart, right?
Yeah, they got rid of Smart, and they added Porzingis, who. And a couple other people.
Gives them a lot of range.
Yeah, even I'm forgetting the guy's name now. He's a point guard that was coming off the bench, but he gave them a huge spark in the Miami
Drew
series.
Holiday?
No, not Drew Holiday. It was
Is he even a Celtic?
Derek White.
Oh, Derek
White. He was.
Is Derek White a point guard? I don't think he is.
Really? I thought so.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, he's bald now, which is something that threw me off because he had some hair and he wore a headband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hair.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought he was taller. He's only 6'4".
He
only 6'4".
Only 6'4".
Like,
He
I'm
single-handedly defeated the Heat in a couple of those games because he was shooting the ball lights out. He couldn't miss. It was insane. The Heat were never going to win that series. They did the best they could without Jimmy Butler and and other
Yeah.
stuff, but they were never going to win that series. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to discount and just say the Pacers are going to lose to the Knicks and just be like, yeah, Knicks and Celtics. But even if we talked about this at the brewery again, but like even if the Knicks were somehow to get past the Pacers and to beat the Celtics, the number 1 seed in the East.
So the Celtics only made it once. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Okay. So, all right. So they only made it once. I could have swore they were, made it multiple times.
Well, this version of the Celtics, obviously.
Yeah. It's not always the same. But yeah, I feel like they always went like pretty far, but maybe.
So this version of the Celtics made it in 2022, and they lost to the Warriors because Steph Curry is Steph Curry.
Yeah, and that was when Klay Thompson was still Klay Thompson. Which,
right.
Now.
That's pre-injuries.
Yeah, he's not the same.
And then, honestly, before the Celtics, the Bucks won.
Right.
Then the Heat went and lost to the Lakers in 2020, which we don't count that title.
That's a tough one to lose. Oh, maybe that's the one I was thinking where Jimmy Butler went crazy in one of the games.
Then the Raptors beat the Warriors in 2019, and I believe that was when everyone got hurt. Because I'll never forget, because they had no shooters, because everyone was hurt. Clay got hurt. I don't even know if Kevin Durant was on the team at the time. He might have been.
I don't know.
The Raptors played box and one, which is 2 guys up top, foul line, 2 guys at the bottom. So no one's in the middle, right? So there's no 3 seconds. And then there's one person that's free because they had no shooting because everybody was hurt.
Yeah,
and the one
point or
person
whatever,
played
around,
Steph
probably.
Curry.
Yeah.
Right? So they had no other shooters.
That was a tough year. I didn't really love watching the playoffs.
Cavs, which I believe those are all LeBron James.
Yeah, you have to believe that.
With the Cavs beating the Warriors in 2016.
That was the come from behind, right?
Right. And then it's Heat, which are LeBron James. And then it's the Doc Rivers Celtics losing to the Lakers in 2010.
Wow. Oh, my God. I was in Rhode Island for that one. Yeah, I remember that.
And then 2009 is the Magic that lost to the Lakers.
Yeah, that sounds right. Damn, that's crazy. I miss those days of basketball.
Doc Rivers is a massively overrated coach.
Yeah,
I just had to get that in there. We can move on.
No, I agree with you. And I've heard the argument, and I totally agree with the argument. But yeah, as far as the East goes, it's hard to disparage the Celtics moving out of there as the champions.
It's probably going to be the Celtics. The Knicks and Pacers is a toss-up. It's a toss-up.
They've had the harder road, in my opinion, as far as the teams that they've played. But we talked about it at the brewery. The Knicks' height, is and depth.
They're short.
And depth.
They're
is,
short
is
and
going
they
to be
play
a problem.
6 people.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge problem.
They play 6 guys and they're short. The Pacers are fast. They run. They shoot threes. And who knew? We learned in game 1 they're going to fucking dominate in the post.
Yeah, I mean, they run a lot of quick screens and pick and rolls and stuff like that, which, if the Knicks are playing man-to-man like they are, it seems like, I don't know his first name, but Turner, right, who I assume is their center.
I want to say it's Miles, but I don't know.
Miles Turner, yeah, because I kept calling him like Evan Turner or something like that.
Former player.
Former player, but for Philly and then other teams or whatever. But he kept getting he just kept getting fed the ball by, what's his name, Halliburton. Right, the guy who had the most assists probably in the league this year, right? Just right in the paint, and then he just has to jump up and lay it up or dunk it or whatever. It happened multiple times yesterday. I was watching the game with our boy Omar, who's been on the channel before, and I'm like screaming at the screen, just like, what? How are we just letting them get in the paint every time? And even if it wasn't that, they were backing one of the Knicks players down in the post and just throwing up a quick little hook or a fadeaway shot that was like clearly. They were able to create space, to make that shot. It's just every time. So the Knicks need to find a way to get defensive stops. It's going to be really difficult. I don't know how they're going to do it, to be honest, but those guys
see tomorrow night.
Yeah, you make those guys shoot contested threes. Like I don't know how you do that, but we'll have to wait and see, like you said.
Either way, it'll be interesting because the stronger teams are in the West.
Yeah, by far. By far.
But if the Celtics make the finals and they have the easier road, are they going to be fresher?
Probably. I mean, assuming
Sorry.
they can beat the Cavs,
I think they're
quicker.
going to beat the Cavs.
Yeah, I see the Pacers
I
being
think
more of a problem.
I think they could beat the Cavs in 5.
Yeah. I could see that.
The Knicks and the Pacers seem like it's going to go 6 or 7.
Yeah, it could easily go that way.
Being that the Knicks had to go 6 with the 76ers, I don't know how many games the Pacers went in their first round.
I think it was 4-1 against the Bucks.
Okay.
I think that
with a
I think that Pat Beverly willed them to win one game.
yeah, with a Giannis not playing and Lillard was
Lillard got hurt. They had a lot of
issues.
Yeah, they had a lot of issues.
To me, the only thing is, so hypothetically, the Wolves right now could sweep the Nuggets, which is wild.
I know, isn't that crazy? Isn't that
And
crazy?
then we have to see what OKC does.
Yeah, that's one of the only teams I haven't really seen play.
And they're pretty good.
But I did watch the Mavericks play, and honestly, it's crazy to me to see how well that the Mavs have adapted to Kyrie and Luka Doncic playing together.
Yeah.
With that supporting cast.
Kyrie and Doncic have meshed way better than I think everyone expected.
I mean,
because everyone's like, "Oh, two ball dominant guys."
Yeah,
like,
I thought it was
not
a
gonna
joke.
Work.
I thought it was an absolute joke last year when they did that. I was like, "This is the dumbest pickup that Dallas could have possibly, made."
Right.
In their situation. Like, how can you get some guy, like you said, who's ball dominant, who needs the ball to make a play in Kyrie Irving?
Oh, we got game 1 tonight, by the way.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
nice.
very excited.
9:30. I'll be sleeping.
Well, yeah, with somebody like Luka who needs the ball to make a play.
Who's also ball dominant.
Yeah, so it's like, but Kyrie's done a great job of deferring.
But also, he takes over when you need him.
To.
And when he takes over, he's just so fucking good.
Like
dude, he can just dribble through anybody alive, and it's amazing.
It is really satisfying to watch. Like, there's almost no better point guard player that can do something like that. You watch the Knicks and you get Jalen Brunson, but you don't get anywhere near the level of insanity of like breaking through multiple defenders and throwing up a layup and making it, getting fouled, or hitting a contested fadeaway 3 from behind the backboard. JJ Redick was commentating on that one, saying like that was one of the most amazing shots that's ever been hit in the NBA.
I think the champion comes out of the West.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to make that argument, especially like you said after
right now it's
Minnesota and Denver.
It's Minnesota.
I mean, Minnesota has been good for a long time, but on paper,
I think they've taken the step now.
They finally materialized that. I thought they were going to be even better when they had Jimmy Butler, like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But obviously, there was a lot of headbutting and egos at play and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I heard some of the stories more recently because I don't really follow the NBA like that well. But Jimmy Butler was basically saying like, okay, I'm gonna play with all the practice scrubs.
Oh, I heard that story. Yeah.
And I was just like, I mean, if that doesn't like make waves on the team and like cause problems. I mean, I get the point behind it and everything, but like, so it is nice to see them finally getting the respect and the clout that they've deserved and they've earned this year.
But I would say mid playoffs, with all the perspective I have, I gotta go Timberwolves as champion.
Who comes out of the other series though? Oklahoma and Dallas.
OKC.
You think OKC is going to have enough great teamwork to overcome Dallas's star power?
I feel like
/ role players.
I mean, they have all year.
I think that's the biggest question is, so out of both sides, right? The West Coast, that's the big if question mark series. I don't think we have any doubt that Minnesota is going to beat Denver at this point.
Yeah.
It would be shocking to see Denver come back from such a slaughter.
To win
four straight or
of the
just
next
in general.
5, that would be crazy.
And obviously we think the Celtics
beat the Cavs.
Should beat the Cavs pretty easily. So,
and I think Pacers-Knicks are a toss-up, but I think both teams lose to the Celtics.
So, yeah, I mean, those are the big question marks on the East and West Coast is, the Dallas series and the New York series because those are going to be the most competitive.
I will say
that would be great.
To balance out the world.
Has Minnesota ever won a championship?
That's a great question.
I don't think
have
they
the answer
have.
to it. I would say no.
I think the only time they've even been close is when Kevin Garnett was there. And they probably didn't even make it past the second round with Kevin Garnett.
I will say.
Love KG.
He's amazing as a basketball player.
Yes, and an actor in that Adam Sandler movie.
I will say, though, because I know the world likes for me to lose bets, I did put $10 on the Pacers to beat the Knicks.
Okay.
To balance it out.
Fair.
So
I mean, it's a fair bet, honestly.
If the Knicks win, it's just because the world wants me to lose money. And if the Pacers win, then hey, good for me.
Hashtag winning one way or another.
So what we will talk about on the next episode, whenever that is, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we're unsure.
Is got to talk about Vince McMahon and WWE because that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to squeeze that into just a few minutes.
Yeah. I actually can't even see. We're definitely past an hour, but I can't see the exact.
It looks like we're at an hour and 6 minutes. It's just a little hard for me to see. It's
with the light. I'm like, hour.
So we're going to get into that next time. But what we can talk on real quick is we got some good fights coming up, some good UFC fights.
Oh, yeah.
So the next pay-per-view, I believe, is in New Jersey.
Oh, pretty close to home.
Yeah, let me see. Hold on. I'm just scrolling through here. We can skip these fight nights because they're going to be shit. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, they are.
Yeah, fair enough.
There's like 2 good fights on them, and the other ones are just like, if you're a diehard, which I'm not, then, you know all these people, but it's just a lot of no names. But if I'm not doing anything, I absolutely throw the fights on.
Sure.
I love watching people fight. But UFC 302, Dustin Poirier's fighting for the lightweight title, which I know you know who he is.
I do, yeah. He's one of the final. He's like one of the last remaining fighters from like when I was watching fairly regularly. So
yeah, well, Dustin Poirier, like Max Holloway, have been in the UFC for
forever,
fucking years at this point. So he's fighting for the UFC title against Islam Makhachev.
Okay.
It's that's going to be a tough road for him. Honestly, if you want to have a chance at winning money, you might as well throw, $5 on Poirier by knockout. Because Islam, if he uses his wrestling, should win. His wrestling is going to be a lot better than Dustin's, and he probably should submit him.
Okay. Fair enough.
But Islam does like to strike because he's a better striker than Khabib was. So he does like to strike to show he can hang with the boys. And if he wants to strike, Poirier's boxing should
shine.
I think it should. But if he wrestles, he's gonna have a big advantage. So if you like betting some money, I would say 5 on Poirier by knockout. Is probably you'll get great value since Islam should be heavily favored. The rest of this card, who gives a fuck? There's some fights on here that I like, but I'm not going to waste your time. And then, let's see, this fight night. We could absolutely skip that fight night. And then we have, Robert Whittaker, who you probably know.
I do know the name, yeah.
Versus Hamzat.
It's so hard for me to not think when I hear Whittaker, though. Like, Forrest Whitaker is fighting? Oh, my God. His eyes are already lazy enough.
Yeah, you know what? For me is and this is not fair to Forrest Whitaker at all. But when I think of Forrest Whitaker, I think of National Security with Steve Zahn and Martin Lawrence, because Forrest Whitaker is in that movie. And what's wild is he's in so many movies that are way better than that, where he plays like amazing characters. But I always think of Steve Zahn and Martin Lawrence in National Security.
It's a great movie, honestly. That's a banger. That's a classic.
Sorry, Forrest.
Yeah.
That's my fault. So the one thing about this fight night in, I believe it's in Abu Dhabi. It's in Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia. I don't remember which one. But whenever the UFC goes over there in that area of the world, they always put together a big fight night.
It's like the same thing for WWE.
It's a lot of big fighters, and it's usually they get a lot of the like fighters like Hamzat, who are Muslim and have a lot of support in that area of the world. But looking at this main card, he's there are two others on the main card maybe that'll draw a lot of attention, but they only have five fights announced. But that fight night is that'll beef up, because going over to that part of the world, they usually like to add a lot of fights. So that'll be a good fight night. But what I wanted to get to is UFC 303. Conor McGregor comes back against Michael Chandler.
Wow.
I expect Michael Chandler to knock him the fuck out.
Did you watch Roadhouse, by the way?
I did.
It was not.
It was bad.
It was bad.
It was bad.
But there are some redeeming qualities.
So here's what I'll say:
comedy.
I didn't think it was bad because of like the characters. I thought the movie as a whole was a bad movie. Like
especially if you're comparing it to the Patrick Swayze.
But there's
original.
absolutely no story. So it starts out Jake Gyllenhaal is throwing fights at a bar to make money. And then just someone who owns a bar somewhere else shows up and was like, I need a bouncer. With no backstory.
Sorry, no thanks.
With
I
no
need
backstory.
Money? Oh, gosh. All right, yeah, I'll do it.
And then he just shows up.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, there's actually police corruption here.
Yeah, it's kind of insane.
So awkwardly thrown together.
Yeah.
And I know there's a group of people.
Thank God it wasn't in theaters. That's all I could say.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we watched it on Amazon, but
that's
20 minutes in, we realized the movie that it was, and we were like, all right, like, whatever.
I watched it here with Omar. I knew the same thing. That's why I didn't watch it by myself, because I knew it was going to be bad.
There were people who were like, oh, McGregor was such a bad actor. Like, that's why the movie was bad. He wasn't why the movie was bad.
If anything, he was one of the better parts of the movie.
And his acting was on par with the acting in the movie. Was his acting great? No. But the acting in the movie wasn't great.
You can't expect
Conor
McGregor to be a great actor.
I saw too much of his ass, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, that's where, for me, it's like, why are we just following a naked
I mean, but that's
Conor
on.
McGregor?
I feel like that's on brand
but
for
it's
who
like,
he is.
whatever.
In general.
Right?
But
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, all right, that's too much man ass, but that's fine. Like, I'll deal with it. But it's like the acting overall was bad. So it's not like Conor came in and was like, oh, his acting isn't good enough for this movie. His acting was fine. It's just the movie was bad.
It's just not compelling. Like the whole thing, you look back at the other one, the original with Patrick Swayze, and you're just like,
right.
There's just something about it where there's just chemistry between like everybody, the emotional investment in the characters, the character depth that they build, throughout the movie.
For this movie, it was like, oh, you could fight,
and nobody got their throat ripped out. I mean, come on, is it even Roadhouse if your throat doesn't get ripped out?
Though I will say, the main character from Mayans.
Yeah, I know that was one of the highlights.
I think his name is like JD Pardo or JP Pardo. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I immediately said that to him. I was just like, oh my God, sons! I mean Mayans.
Yeah.
And I'm just like.
But even his character, he was like, oh, it's JD Pardo, which is Jorge Daniel Pardo.
It's funny that like he plays the same like type of character,
yeah,
like
but
in a way.
his character was like a dumbass.
Yeah, he was.
They made his character stupid.
Again. Florida. Am I right, Floridians? Stupid fucks.
Sure.
Nobody in Florida's watching this.
They're definitely not. So, excuse me. Yeah, either way, UFC 303 is the return of Conor McGregor. And what's interesting is the co-main is actually a decent fight. But honestly, the rest of the fight night, like, oh, that's it. No. So Google has the co-main listed as Joe Pfeiffer versus Marc-Andre Barrieu. But they said the co-main's going to be Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree, which that's going to be a banger.
I feel like Jamal Hill sounds familiar. I don't know.
Probably not. He's
probably
become
thinking,
a name
I'm thinking
within
of the other Hill, the one that got his leg fucking snapped in half. Is that a Hill? I feel like it was.
No.
Corey Hill? No, that's not a person.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, maybe when you watched and I didn't. But
Yeah. I feel like
Anderson Silva snapped his leg.
he
in
did,
half.
but there was another one. I feel
and
like
then Chris Weidman did.
but there was still another one before that. I don't know. But
I don't
anyways,
But either way, this card UFC 303 is looking pretty good. I think Chandler by knockout's a good bet. Honestly, it's a 5-round fight. It's not going 5. So I would either Conor or Michael Chandler by knockout's a good bet.
Was Conor McGregor? Did he say he didn't want to do 5 rounds?
Someone asked him if he thought about 3 rounds, and he was considering it, but that means, no main event. So
yeah, well, that's what I was saying. I thought I saw an article saying like he didn't want to do 5 rounds because he knows he can't do it.
I don't know if that's true or not. Who knows? It really depends.
Yeah.
But either one by knockout's pretty good. But yeah, those are the fights on my mind. We'll get into Vince and WWE next.
Yeah, because that's like opening.
We need to start with that. We need to start with that because we could talk about that for a long time.
And the future.
That's a lot
everything.
of shit.
Yeah. But anyways, we really hope you did enjoy today's podcast, us talking about sports and our random thoughts about this and that. We don't know when we'll be back again, but
maybe next month.
But yeah, drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Let us know in that comment section your thoughts and opinions on the NHL, NBA, and all the stuff we've talked about. And hit that subscribe button so you don't miss when we make another video about Vince McMahon and or other things.
Exactly.
Mostly sports, but like whatever. And hit the noti bell so you never miss that content drop.
Noti bell.
Noti bell. Thank you so much for listening / watching. Y'all already know, but we out.
We out.
See you in the next one.
Let's go Rangers and Knicks.
They always left me satisfied and smiling.